Let's talk about the biggest developments in college football over the past week. And there's one big one, and we're going to start. Dogs over Ducks for the number one quarterback in America. Maybe the biggest development, not just of the week, but the entire offseason. Jared Curtis, 6'3.5", 225 pounds, picks Georgia over Oregon. Were you guys here watching it live with us? We had quite a fun time on that live show. And in the end, Curtis, well, he's staying closer to home. He's not staying home because he's from Nashville, but he will be a dog. Picked him over Oregon. This was a long recruitment. Remember, at one point, he was committed to Georgia. He backed off that commitment. So Georgia landed the number one quarterback in America 2 times this offseason. We'll see if this one sticks. I have good reason to think it will. We spoke with Jared Curtis. Go watch the interview. He is now a vocal recruiter for the Dogs. And at this point, Georgia, they're eyeing the number one class. More on that in a minute. All right, let's move on. UGA now pushing for the number one class. On Monday, they moved from 17. Yeah, Georgia was outside the top 10. With one commitment of Jared Curtis, they moved from 17 to 7, and now the focus turns to Jackson Cantwell. He's the number one player in America, the number one offensive tackle, and next Tuesday, he comes off the board. But where will he end up? Well, let's take a look at his top 6. You got Ohio State, Missouri, Michigan, Miami, Georgia, and Oregon. Now, here's my take. I think there's 3 main contenders. I got Miami, Georgia, and Oregon. But if you really dial that down, I think it's 2. I think it's Georgia and Miami. I think Oregon may be on the outside of those 2 looking in. Now, the experts, they've been saying Georgia, but there's some Miami buzz starting to creep up as we are less than 1 week away. We will find out on Tuesday. All right, we got a new 5-star prediction from Steve Wiltfong, and this one's a bit of a surprise. If I told you Steve made a prediction on a 5-star Cali QB named Ryder Lyons, you'd probably think, oh, he put in a pick for USC. But that's not it. Moments after Jared Curtis announced his commitment to Georgia over Oregon, Steve dropped a shocking prediction. 5-star Ryder Lyons to the Ducks. Yeah, after missing on a 5-star, the Ducks are now trending for another. And when you're Dan Lanning and company, that's how you do it. You miss on a 5-star, you back it right up with another 5-star. So we'll see what happens with this one. I'm not counting USC out yet, but Ryder Lyons is gaining traction with Oregon. All right, the race for number one is heating up. USC jumped into the lead last Monday, but for how long? I see it as this. I think there's 3 teams right now that I'm keeping an eye on when it comes to the battle for number one. Obviously, Georgia going from 17 to 7 after Curtis. They now are right in the mix, especially with Jackson Cantwell deciding in less than a week. I don't think Jackson Cantwell will push them into number one, but it puts them on a track for that number one spot. Also, watch Ohio State at 3. I mean, no offense to Ohio State fans, but they've barely recruited so far because of this national championship hangover. I kid. But here come the Buckeyes. The staff is on the road right now, and we got some major commitments coming up this summer for Ohio State. So watch out for them right now, sitting at number 3. And then I'd say Texas at 13. Yes, not even inside the top 10, but they weren't inside the top 10 last year at this time, and they ended up finishing number 1 as well. So watch Georgia, Ohio State, and Texas. But of course, don't count out USC because there has been no team on the recruiting trail hotter than USC. I mean, from beginning of the cycle to now, there has been no lag, all gas, no breaks. Watch out, USC in that number 1 spot. They can definitely hold on to it. All right, those are the major developments that I've seen this week. You guys let me know what is cooking in your world. Comment section below.